Welcome to the YouTube video of our 16 by 22 foot Providence and Worcester Shortline HO model train layout. The layout has been in construction for the last 2 years and is now substantially complete, so we wanted to share this from a unique visual perspective. Using a small cube action camera, you will see the layout as a conductor or engineer would see the layout through the front cab of their locomotive. The layout tour takes about 15 minutes and will give you a complete loop around the main line, followed by brief tours of 7 highlights of the layout. As with any layouts, our desires are constrained by space, so you will see locations that are not necessarily in geographical order with respect to space and time. It is okay, accept it. We have made some attempts to be prototypical for our era, circa 1960 to 2000. But our build is also whimsical and non-prototypical in other respects. Again, it's okay. Prototyping for me is a concept, not a religion. The last railroad modeling concept I am lacking in is weathering. I prefer the clean look of non-weathered locomotives and rolling stock. It is my preference, and since it is my railroad, it will go by my rules. Lastly, I dedicate the video to a great modeler who helped me extensively in the design and electronics build, but who passed when we had only had the first helix and 3 of the 66 automated turnouts built. Larry Eggering of Creaky Chair Modelers was my mentor for the design and the electronics build, and for that I will be forever grateful. Our layout represents central New England in the fall, circa 1960 to 2000. It goes from the southern terminus of the Providence and Worcester Railroad at the Port of Providence, berth 5, through Worcester, Massachusetts, to the northern terminus of the Providence-Worcester Railroad at the Main Street Yard in Gardner, Massachusetts. The layout is built with Pico's track and Walther's DCC-friendly turnouts. Turnouts were number 6s for the yards, number 8s for the main line, and number 10s for the high-speed crossovers at our interchange track. Our minimum curve radius is 30 inches, with the exception of the reversing loop, which is 28 inches. The maximum grades are all set at 2%. All our turnouts are automated using servos connected to Arduinos using the CRMI connection capability of the JMRI program. The layout has four hidden staging tracks below the layout that provide over 6,000 scale feet of track for storage of locomotives and rolling stock. In my normal operations, I keep 2 passenger trains, 4 freight trains located in this hidden staging. They are sequenced and moved to the layout as part of the operations programs built in JMRI. The vast majority of the sensors, block lighting, and signal controllers are from modern train technology. Most of the actual 3-aspect block lights and yard lights are from We Honest. Most of the buildings and scenic detail elements are Waller's Cornerstone products that we have built over the course of our construction of 4 layouts. Our DCC system is Digitrax with a DCS 210 Plus command station with 2 Digitrax DB220 boosters to support the various power districts. A UR93 is utilized for wireless controller capability. We utilize a JMRI operations program Panel Pro to support realistic operations, and we have over 20 routes and trains built and operating successfully on the layout. At any given time between the top layout and hidden staging, there are approximately 30 locomotives and 200 pieces of rolling stock staged and used for operations. The last introductory comment I will make is to help orient you to the layout. Note that our mainline reversing loop and helix track ballast is medium gray, and our yard track ballast is generally brown with a mix of oxide and cinders. This is to allow the operator to readily identify if they are on through tracks or yard tracks. Here is an image of how I mounted my action camera on the 50-foot maintenance away flat car. It is mounted with a small Velcro strip, and I put some car weights on the trailing truck of the flat car for stability. The action camera is a Run Camera 5, which measures approximately 37 millimeters cubed and fits beautifully on a flat car. I can run this camera through every part of my layout, including the hidden staging, and it works fine. It's capable of taking up to 4K images at a rate of 60 frames per second. So let's get started on our tour. We will start on the main line near the entrance to the Providence and Worcester Railroad Sturbridge Street Yard. The yard is over to our right, and in the center is the yard interlocking tower for the south end of the yard. We will pass the Worcester Sand and Stone Industry on our right, which has 2 spur tracks for use with hoppers and gondolas. Next, we see our first example of 3-aspect block lighting that is fully operational with latching. This is followed by our approach to the centerpiece model of our layout, the Worcester Union Station. Here we are seeing the front entrance on our right. This has been built from the German Vollmer Baden-Baden train station model with some kit bashing of the center cupola to make it look more like the Worcester Union Station. Washington Square Park is on the left. We passed the grade crossing on Highway 146, our state route down to Rhode Island, and turned southbound to the Port of Providence. There is a lighthouse and rail barge, another one of our whimsical additions to the layout, on our left. Just to the north of the port, we have the Providence and Worcester Railroad Valley Falls Yard to our left, with our exit from the hidden staging helix on the right and our return main line on the far right. At the end of the Valley Falls Yard, we see the exit from the hidden staging helix, which we have labeled as the Valley Falls Tunnel. The Valley Falls engine house comes into view on the right. As we begin to bend around the return curve on our main line, we see the Woonsocket Industry Spur on our right and the Valley Falls Passenger Depot on our left. The Valley Falls Depot kit is a wooden model Mayport train station replica kit designed by Jeff Barker from our local First Coast Model Railroad Society. As we start around Woonsocket Turn, we see the New England wiring cable on our right. We start up the 2% grade around Woonsocket Turn, noting the fields and orchards of the Rocky Acres Farm at harvest time. We reach the top of the grade by the Woonsocket Turn cell tower and start back northbound down the mainline grade to approach Worcester, Massachusetts. At the base of the downhill grade, we pass through the switch for the exit from hidden staging and then bend around the curve past Highway 146 to the backside of Worcester Union Station. As we approach Worcester Union Station, we now get to see the detail on the back side of the station and its associated passenger platform. The lighting, numerous benches, passengers, and station personnel all add to the scenery detail. As we leave the station, we pass another grade crossing and approach the CSX and Providence and Worcester Railroad interchange track straight ahead. Our main line is off to the far left. We run multiple interchange trains as part of our CSX and PW operations, and this adds great diversity to the rolling stock and locomotives utilized in our operations program. As we turn to the right and proceed further north, we pass the backside of the Providence and Worcester Railroad Sturbridge Street Yard on our right. We see the engine house, caboose track, maintenance away staging track, and multiple yard tracks. To our right center is the exit down to hidden staging through the Worcester Tunnel. We now proceed up the mainline grade to the Worcester turn. As our main line turns right again and proceeds on a downgrade through the Worcester turn, we see to the right the Providence and Worcester Intermodal Facility, the Auto Rack Loading Facility, and the United Petroleum Refinery and Tank Loading Platform. At the bottom of the grade in the final piece of the Worcester turn, we see the Worcester Industry two-track spur on our right. It includes the Worcester Freight Depot and Redemption Rock Brewing Company, a great option for grain hoppers and reefer rolling stock. We come to the end of our main line loop as we approach again the Providence and Worcester Railroad Sturbridge Street Yard and the Worcester Passing siding. Now let's get off the main line and enjoy some highlights of other parts of the layout. Our first highlight journey is on the south end of the layout as we leave the southbound main line and proceed down our reversing loop. We pass the Valley Falls Tunnel and Helix exit on the right and the Valley Falls Yard engine house on the left. This is followed by the back side of Rocky Acres Farm as we approach the New England Wiring Cable Company on our left. Then we see the Woonsocket Plastic Pellet Transfer Facility and the Woonsocket Food Service and Cold Storage on the left. As we approach the reversing loop exit, we see the Valley Falls Passenger Depot on the right. We are now getting ready to head down the main line in the opposite direction. Our next highlight is the northbound spur entrance into the Gardner Passenger Station. We pass the fully automated gate crossing on Pine Street and gently slide into the station. Next up, we travel up the spur to the Providence and Worcester Railroad Gardner Main Street Yard. We pass the interlocking tower on the right and the back of our country store on the left. We traverse the two crossovers past the arrival departure track and the first yard track and over to the approach to the single locomotive engine house. Nice detail and framing on the inside of the engine house, complete with inspection bay. On the east end of the Gardner Main Street yard, we have the Consolidated Freightways Open Air Transfer Facility, a great addition to our yard facility and a challenge to operations with its forward-facing spur. We next journey across the layout again and southbound to another forward-facing industry spur, the Woonsocket Industry Spur. We travel past the pellet transfer facility on our left, the food service company on our right, and approach New England Wiring Cable on Spur Track 1. Lots of operations for hoppers, coal cars, gondolas, boxcars, and reefers. Switchers are pre-positioned at the Port of Providence and the Valley Falls Yard, making this work much easier. Next, we back out of the Woonsocket Spur and approach the Providence and Worcester Valley Falls Yard engine house on engine track 2. This gives us a good look at the interior lighting of the detail inside the engine house, along with the ability to drive locomotives right through the engine house for staging and storage. Our last highlight through our action camera view is the approach and entrance to the Port of Providence. We come northbound, up the rail barge onloading and offloading track, and we use our port switcher and idler cars to traverse the barge apron and onto the rail barge for switching activity. Our last video for the day shows an aerial view of the automated grade crossing at our Gardner passenger station. In this video, the MBTA Purple Line commuter heads back down to the main line out of the station with the grade crossing coming up as it passes. So that concludes our video for today, and we leave you with an image of our 280 consolidation steam engine, which is used for our Blackstone Valley Scenic Train. We hope you enjoyed the video and it gets you excited about model railroading and all the possibilities. Thanks again.